Hey everybody, welcome back to the Genma Onimusha commentary. And one thing that we want to kind of address today, because I kind of poked fun at it at the beginning of the last part. But yeah, the soundtrack of this game was composed in air quotes by Mamoru Samagochi, who, if you know from the director's cut of Resident Evil, was also the composer of that one, except not really. It was Takashi Nagaki. Mamoru Samagochi, if you didn't know, was the guy who feigned like he was making his own soundtracks for a long time when in reality he had them ghostwritten by Takashi Nagaki for his pretty much his entire career. And I don't recall when this was found out exactly, if he self-admitted or Takashi spoke out finally. But yeah, that whole thing happened. And if you play the HD re-release of Onimusha, you might realize the soundtrack sounds completely different. They went and rescored the entire game for the re-release, which I don't mind the re-release soundtrack. It's fine. I just don't understand. I don't know anything about copyright or anything like that. I don't know why they just didn't bother properly crediting Takashi Nagaki.
It may
And just keep the soundtrack as
it may
is.
just have something to do with legalese. Would be my
Yeah,
guess.
it's one of those things that absolutely sounds like it should be simple, but given the world of the law, probably isn't as simple as we want it to be, you know?
Oh no. Oh, you can knock the green souls out of them.
Yeah, charge attacks can knock green souls out of enemies.
I was about
which is-
to. It's like it looked like that was about to go really bad.
It was, and it's still going pretty bad right now. I'm
Yeah, he's
getting the
choking a
life
bitch.
choked out of it. Yeah, I know.
You know, you would think sword fighting with tank controls would be pretty stilted, and sometimes it kind of is. But there's a surprising variety of stuff that could happen. Earlier in this fight, we saw that like Samanosuke and one of the big red dudes got into a blade struggle, and one of the other enemies took the opportunity to sucker punch or sucker cut Samanosuke in the back. And like there's some pretty good enemy variety even this early on in the game too. And that's not entirely down to Genma Onimusha. It was also true in the original.
Yeah, but Gemma definitely does bring in the variation earlier. Because the red dude that was choking me to death earlier, you're not supposed to fight for the first time, I believe, until you get inside the keep properly. Not here. They throw him right outside. Yeah, which makes more sense. You know, you want to throw some strong forces outside to keep guard and all that. But another thing that you might be doing is if you're watching this and you want to, okay, I can't full screen this because I'm getting occasionally assaulted with these bright flashes every once in a while. I can't apologize for that because that is the in-game mechanic, probably the best in-game mechanic of Onimusha, and that's the Eason counter. And there are two variations of this. So basically, the Eason is a counterattack. If you manage to hit the attack button right as an enemy is about to strike you, Samanosuke can do a quick sidestep Dragon Ball Z dodge and go right up behind the enemy and like do that basically. And Eason kills always net you more souls if you manage to do it, and they're also one-hit kills. There is also the guard variation where if you manage to block an attack right as an attack is about to hit you, you can follow up with the Eason right then and there, which I just did right there.
Yeah.
And Eason is something you want to be mastering. I mean, you don't have to do it throughout the game, but if you want to get as many souls as you possibly can, especially in Gemma's case, or whatever, again, I mentioned about those damn doors. You want to get a good feel for how you can trigger it at pretty much any given time. Not every enemy can be as easily Easoned as these guys or as the common fodder. Sometimes their reads are way harder to tell, especially like the giant axe swinging ogres. But it's something you do want to get used to at some point because the benefits are fantastic if you manage to get a hang of it.
Oh yes. But like in concept, this is the kind of game that I think a lot of modern players would be skeptical about because of the tank controls. Like,
Yeah, like it looks, honestly, like this, whenever I see footage of Onimusha, it does look like a lot of fun to play, but the idea of playing this with tank controls always kind of turns me off because it's just, I can't get used to it. I never played games like this when I was a kid, so I don't even have that like nostalgia kind of factor for them. It's just,
And it's not something I can think even the HD re-release would rectify because the HD re-release also has analog control. You don't have to use tank controls. It's a little weird though for this game, as the case was for Remake for me, where because you're still dealing with pre-rendered camera angles, there are times where you might have to fidget with the analog stick so that you're tilting it in the right way, even though you don't have to do that necessarily. But psychologically, you feel inclined to anyway, because now Samanosuke is facing an entirely different direction.
Like if you're holding forward and the camera makes you look like you're going up, but
Yes.
then the camera shifts and he's suddenly turning left, you can still hold up and he'll go
Yeah,
forward.
he'll still keep going in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it keeps fucking with you if you're not already attuned to the tank controls, in my opinion. You know, and besides that, I want to say the HD re-release. No, okay. So the HD re-release also added a quick switch to weapons. In the original game, you had to pause the game.
Oh, yes.
And go to the inventory to use different weapons. HD re-release added those buttons to the triggers. So you just press them and you automatically switch them to fire, wind, sword, and all like that. Nice little quality of life change. I think you could also do that to the weapons, the long range weapons. So you get your bow and arrow out, or maybe you think tonight I'll use the gun.
There's a gun in this game?
Yeah, there's the matchlock.
Oh yeah, this takes place during that period of time where guns were sort of just entering Japan, so they weren't super common, but they did exist. It's like the Rurouni Kenshin pilot manga, where the where like the Rurouni Kenshin like first issue, where the bad guy pulls a gun out at the very end. And he's all gloating about how his superior technology is going to render your swords pointless. And then obviously it doesn't, because anime. But like,
until
just like this game.
Well, until you get to the Oniwaban group, and they all just get mowed down by a machine gun except Baoshi.
Yeah.
It's like, oops.
But like, we're talking about some dippy little old guy with a squat face and a handgun. In the pilot, it was actually European armor that the bad guy was gloating about, but like both versions of the introductory story have that element where the samurai is facing down against some egotistical bad guy who has Western technology at his disposal, and they're so sure that they're going to win because your swords are useless, except Hiten Mitsurugi evidently turns a sword into the best weapon in the known multiverse, because like anime. It is nice that like this character, this boss, who's effectively just like the first stupid grunt boss, gets introduced earlier on and gets the better of Samanosuke first, but then you come back and you've got your magic sword now, so you get to show the guy who's boss. It's kind of satisfying, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying.
Oh, so you're saying better technology lets you win?
Well, it's magic though. Is it the same?
You know,
I mean, same difference. At this level.
Technology that is sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. That's a quote, but I don't have any idea who actually said that, so never mind.
It's a quote from Oscar Wilde.
Oh, is it?
I thought you were going to say
it's
Oscar
not.
Mayer for a second.
No, it's not.
That didn't sound right.
I mean, but
Like
point of the quote still stands, though.
You need to cut out the bullshit, get people out of your life, and really see the things that matter. Shigeru Miyamoto on how to unlock Luigi in Super Mario Odyssey.
Well, you know what? If you had attributed that one to Oscar Wilde, I almost would have believed you, because like the douchebag from Picture of Dorian Gray says a lot of stuff like that.
Hey, so you can live for forever and do all the terrible things you want. Yo, sweet, but this portrait in the attic will get really, really ugly. Okay, sure. Isn't your morals, aren't they? Nah, brah, I'm gonna go kill all the people. I'm gonna do so many murders you don't believe.
Okay.
So a holdover of Onimusha from Resident Evil, I should say. You can find these journals and documents very akin to the documents you could read in Resident Evil. They don't do much in this game though, as opposed to that one.
I like the classic Japanese scroll style art though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the files though, they're not like integrated organically into the environment the way that they would attempt to be in Resident Evil. They're just kind of in chests everywhere.
I feel
Onimusha
like
is
that's
a much
just
more
kind of a feeling of the setting, where in a modern day with computers and stuff, it's more reasonable to expect notes written around all the time.
I don't think it's so much of a setting thing. I think it's because Onimusha is designed to be a faster-paced game. They don't expect you to stop and smell the roses quite so often. Like, in a Resident Evil game, when you see a laboratory like this, you would stop and just examine the thing, check every fucking bookshelf and everything. But here, Onimusha, it's an action game. You want to get moving. You want to fight the next horde of bad guys. So you're not gonna
Until
do
you
that.
find your first piece of fluorite, and then you realize, oh shit, I skipped over so many rooms.
Yeah. Well, that's just kind of the game dicking with you. But for the most part, they want all the important stuff that you need to find to progress the game in obvious popping chests that jump right out at you when you see them on screen. Also, this guy's English voice actor is the best thing.
What the hell is up with Skeletor here?
I don't know. I love the way his bottom lip moves though.
Well, it's more. His mouth moves more like Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about Muppets earlier. Guildenstern is right from there.
This guy's one of the recurring characters tied to the whole Nobunaga is doing stuff with demons plot.
You know what I say to this main character? Samanosuke.
Anyway.
Oh, we have another weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't wait long between getting your Thunder Sword and your Fire Sword. This is the Enryu. This is my personal favorite.
Just like in Devil May Cry, the weapon you get after the electric weapon is the fire weapon, and it's slower and heavier.
Did
Yeah.
Kamiya work on this game?
Hideki Kamiya? No. This was the directorial debut of Jun Tekoichi, who I think I'm pronouncing that name right. And I believe Keiji Inafune also helped produce this.
Back when that was a good name to have on your video
Yeah.
game.
Well, I don't know, it depends. Good is subjective because this was after Mega Man Legends 2. And I had that cliffhanger of an ending, so maybe your faith in him is already waning.
Well,
at
this
that point.
this came out in. Well, when did the PS2 version of Onimusha come out? 2001.
2001. Yes.
So that was only like a year after Legends 2. So
right.
And then he would go on to make Dead Rising, which was pretty successful. So,
Yeah.
I really, really hate those things.
Yeah, so these so the things that just kind of stole your souls, bro. Those are soul eaters. And they're the only enemies in the game that can devour souls for you. Now, they're not gone permanently until they decide to leave, because they will leave after a while if you don't kill them fast enough. But a cool thing about them that I didn't really know for the longest time is that there is kind of a soul multiplier system with them in regards to them being in a group together. So if you find yourself in a room with like 3 or 4 soul eaters and they start stealing your souls, you want to kill the soul eater that took your souls, obviously, but then you want to let them deliberately get sucked up again by another soul eater in the room. Keep pecking them off one after another, and the soul output you get after killing the last soul eater will be like 5-10 times better than what you had beforehand.
So it's like if you let a like in Zelda eat your wooden shield, and then you kill that like, the shield pops out. You let another like eat it, and then when you kill that like, it pops out as the Hylian shield.
It comes out as the mirror shield, yes.
Okay. All right, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you would ever find out that without a guide.
You just have to look. So on again at the HUD, the pink meter below the mana bar is your soul meter, and every time you collect souls, you're shown a numerical value for the soul's worth, like 20, 40, plus 10. I think that's a multiplier. Every time you absorb souls from a soul eater, that thing goes to like plus 500, plus 1,000, which is like the highest it can ever get compared to everything else you can absorb in this game. So I think you're supposed to just look at that and realize, oh, wait a minute. I want the soul eaters to eat my souls.
Wait, was that an optional item you got for saving that guy?
Yes.
Nice.
So every once in a while, you might find a guard in peril. And I don't think they'll die in the same screen if you just leave them alone. It's like, hey, how's it going, buddy?
You got him,
Guys
bud.
giving you a little trouble there. Yeah. But if you manage to go out of your way and save them right then and there, they will often give you an item. Sometimes it's just an herb. Other times, though, it will be a permanent health or magic increase, which you want to do. However, there are some instances where you're only going to be on the screen once. So make sure you have the means to help that guard right then and there. One egregious example I can immediately think of is actually in this room right here. So there are 2 floors at the main entrance to the keep. And at some point, you're going to be on the 2nd level. And in the 1st level below you, out of reach, is a guardsman being attacked by a lot of
So
Genma.
you'll want to have arrows.
Yes, you want to have a long-range weapon. And if you do not help him then and there, he's gone by the time you get back to the bottom floor. And I don't recall if he just gave you an herb or a power jewel, which was a health increase. I'm going to assume it's a power jewel. Help him as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he's dead, why can't you just take whatever he had off of
I assume the
him, off
demons
of
took it
his
that
corpse?
killed. I assume the demons that killed him took it.
What on earth is that thing? I forget.
I don't know the reference of the Dark Realm dude.
The only vibe I get from this is, you remember in the Dover Boys cartoon where it would just occasionally stop and the old man would trot across? That's all it reminds me of.
Well, we'll be talking more. We'll be talking to the Dark Realm dude a little more in the future parts, but not now. Creeps me out. Gonna gargle my mouth with mouthwash.